How was that? Because do you enjoy? Most pilots do also enjoy flying. The stick and rudder side of things.
Oh, yeah.
How was that adaptation for you?
Again, as I say, as the bigger the aircraft, the less you get to hand flight. I realized. So, yes, you want that mix of hand flying, a bit of hand flying, and automation. Again, automation is very important. Relieves workload. You can chill, you can eat, you can
sleep.
Yeah, you can go to the bathroom. It helps.
Does flying over such varying landscapes give you an appreciation of just the world in general, like just seeing Alps, like you said, to some greenery, to desert? Like, did it have like a nice, almost poetic thing about it?
When he was removing panels and stuff, having all these big gloves on your hands, it's very difficult to access. So a lot of the time he was actually taking off his glove to access the panels. And I was like, this guy, put your gloves back on, man.
Yeah. Because you can't have dexterity with gloves on.
Yeah.
Even in the flight deck, trying to program on the FMS, I actually took the gloves off because it was easier to type in all the individual waypoints, because if you start making errors, it takes more time.
Yeah, we had time with Eric, a much-awaited Airmen episode. We've been trying to put this together for a while. I'm excited today. We got 2 mics in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Mike Moturi is here. Soon to be Captain Michael Purchase is here. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for making time, man.
Thank you for having us.
I've had the privilege of flying with, of course, I've flown with Mike. I've heard about your flying. All good, though.
Yeah, do tell.
No, all positive, man. How is it going? How are things, man? How are things generally?
Oh, well, things are all right. A bit busy, but yeah, a day at a time.
You like the busy?
Yeah, I like the busy. Yeah, busy is good.
Busy is good.
Busy is always good.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be back on the ground. I was out for a couple of months this year flying out of the country, and then came back, took leave, then was called out to do this expedition, and then back to normality. It's kind of nice to be grounded again, be home, family, friends, routine. But yeah, Captain Moturi is correct. It's busy.
How long do you guys get out of kilt without flying? Like, how many days does it take, or how many weeks before you start feeling like, I miss flying? The reason I ask you like this is there's so many times I complain about how I'm tired, I'm fatigued, man, I want a break, and then 4 days passed out flying, and I'm like, hey, I need to get back in the sky. Is that the same for you guys?
I'd say for me, maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, if I'm out for 2 weeks, I'll be like, hey.
Start missing your medicine.
Yeah, man, I need to I need to feel some thrust somewhere, Yeah, so 2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks is a good balance.
Good balance, yeah.
I think it's a little bit about the routine, because I find myself on days off, don't really have much to do. With the industry, it's always early mornings, late nights. You're studying for assessments. There's always continuity. So I like to be busy, because sometimes at home I find myself very anxious if I have nothing to do. So if I'm busy on holiday, yeah, a couple of weeks is good. But if it's like 3 days off, I start thinking, okay, maybe I should get back to work.
So let's go back all the way to the beginning, because you guys are now seasoned. Like I said, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, you're hating, man. Just hit the subscribe button. Airmen, you guys have been asking for this episode for a while. It's here, it's happening. Please do subscribe. Let's take it back to the beginning, because seasoned captain and soon to be captain, fingers crossed. But it should be happening very soon. So let's take it back. How did you guys get your start in aviation? Like, where did you guys start? Is this something you guys wanted to do since you were young? Did it stumble upon you, or what's the origin story? Hey guys, I know you're enjoying this episode, but I stopped this episode right here because something needs to happen, man. I notice about 70% of you guys are watching the episode. That means you're watching repeatedly, you like the content, you love every other time with Eric, but you haven't subscribed. Take a moment, man. Please, I ask, from the kindness of your soul, hit the subscribe button. It does a lot for us when you guys are subscribed. It helps grow the channel. It just helps us be better, do better, and grow. Thank you for watching. Back to the episode.
So from my side, it was fairly straightforward. I think I'm a third generation pilot in the family.
Wow. So that's granddad?
Granddad, yeah. I actually have logbooks of my granddad from the 1940s, dated
That's
1940s.
That's the war, or
yeah. That was war. He was in World War One and World War Two.
Wow.
So I have his whole training record when he was in the Air Force.
Who has a better record?
Well,
Who's more spotless?
he's got a few years. He has a few more years on me, so I'll answer this question when I'm turning 65.
Okay. What do you fly? P-50? That's World War One.
He was on Spitfires. He was on Mosquitoes. He did a little bit of jets. Then he was on the VC-10. I think he got his hands on a Boeing once upon a time. But he transitioned from war pilot to commercial pilot, and he spent a lot of time. He flew in West Africa. He flew for East African Airways. He flew for KQ. And then his son, my uncle, the same story, like a prodigy family. East African Airways, KQ. He flew in the Middle East.
So as a kid, you saw these guys and they were inspiring. Because
I never saw them because they were always crossing the Atlantic, but I did see postcards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have a collection of postcards from their travels. But yeah, sadly, my granddad died when I was 1 year old.
Okay.
So it's just his legacy that transcended down to me. But of course, my mum has a big family. My cousins pursued aviation as recreationally, but not as a career. So I'm the last one in the family pursuing it. Hopefully, currently the last, not the last. I have two young nieces.
But third generation is inspirational, I must say. I'm second generation, and I know what the influence of your uncles or your pilot or your grandparents or parents can actually have on your career choice. Because I've always said severally, I remember, for me it was a swagger thing. I remember one of my uncles used to come visit, and he always had the cool car with the lights that would come like this, and then he had the way he walked, and there's a way. I was like, you guys, I don't want to be in an office. This looks
way too cool,
way more interesting. And that's how actually I ended up aligning. So he kind of took me under his wing, and over time, that's how I ended up interfacing with this whole thing. What about you, Mike? Whether they're both Mikes, Mike Square today. What about you, Captain?
Well, the dream started when, so we were escorting this uncle of mine to the airport. He was flying out. I was about 9. We got to the airport, and then I saw a pilot walk by. With uniform, everything.
Dragging his suitcase.
Everything. And that's how I liked the idea. Like, I think I want to be like that guy. I just told my mom, hey, I want to be like that guy. That's it. Like, no history, no nothing. It's just, I love uniforms, by the way. Yeah, so that kind of drew me into it. So, like, I want to be like that guy.
And there's something dreamy about the airport, you must admit, especially before we became like in a career we were there every day. Like, you'd come to the airport, there's just something about possibilities. And then you see guys walking in that formation. In fact, I'll ask my producer to put on the screen like a Qatari Airways crew just walking in their formation, man. There's just something so palpably dreamy. So did this inform how you guys went about your schooling? Because this time you're 9. How old were you at this time? I'm assuming you're young.
Yeah, I can't put a date on the age. But yeah, as a young child, we were immersed in aviation. I think it's highly romanticized. The uniforms, the pilots, the crew, the hotels, it's definitely dreamy, like you said. It's taken a long time to get to that stage.
Oh my God, it has taken a long time.
So yeah, people don't think about your first job, the tiny little piston engine airplane you're flying, then to get to a big jet. But the idea of being in an airport, the big glass, big jet, and some little kid staring, looking up at the plane and looking at the pilots, that just resonates for me as a child. Like, I want to be that guy.
So did you guys pick like your subjects in school accordingly? Did you align yourselves with flying? They always say they talk about math, geography, and physics. Did you guys start aligning from a young age?
The irony is those are exactly the 3 subjects I took for A-levels.
Oh, really? Math, physics, and geography.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, to be fair, I mean they're quite useful. You can't be a pilot without math and basic physics.
Physics and chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Talk about chemistry.
Yeah.
I wasn't the sharpest tool when it came to chemistry, but I mean clearly I somehow made it.
Well, yeah, I think for me it wasn't really a choice. The high school I went to, they just offered, and there was no option of dropping. So I just...
You were in a sharp school. You were in Strathmore, right?
Hey.
So Strathmore is creme de la creme when it comes to academics in our context. So In fact, yesterday I had a coffee, I had a meeting, some Strathmore guys, and we were talking about how most guys from that environment tend to have done well in life. So I know Strathmore was probably a good academic foundation as well.
Yes. We had really good teachers at the time, like really, like in my opinion, overqualified teachers. Yeah, especially for the sciences. They did a great job. So I didn't realize this until, when I was out here, and I realized, okay, yeah, these guys needed a lot more credit than we gave them. Yeah. So, yeah, the foundations were laid. And then now, yeah, you can see how it applies in aviation. You can see how knowledge of physics makes it easier to grasp a certain concept in aviation, knowledge of chemistry, So, yeah. I can say it's...
Both of you guys had the privilege of training. You didn't train in Kenya, right? You both trained in South Africa, although in different parts of South Africa. I know I've talked to you both separately about your training. Talk about your training, man. Where did you train?
I did my training in Cape Town International Airport. So I initially was doing my bachelor's degree. And the way it started, my whole plan was to finish the bachelor's degree.
Bachelor in what?
I did environmental and geographical science. So that was my other calling. It was either aviation or go into something like that. But you know what one. But anyways, I was finishing on my 4th year of my degree, and I realized I spoke with my student advisor, and she said to me, "You do realize you're taking more subjects than you need to take. You said you already have enough credits to graduate." So I said, okay.
Say less.
So I called my mum up. I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, "Mum, I think I got some free time on my hands here. What can we do with that?" And I was like, can I maybe sign up for a flight school? And she was a bit apprehensive because she was already putting me through university. But I bought the card of, granddad, uncle. She was like, okay, fine, just let me know how much it's going to cost.
The legacy must continue.
Yeah, and I had a friend who was working at a flying club, and he gave me the introduction, and I went in there, and yeah, I just did my first flight on. I did what do they call it? Familiarization flight.
What aircraft?
It was a Tomahawk.
Put that on the screen for guys to see. A Tomahawk.
Yeah, tiny little.
Cape Town is windy, man.
Oh yeah.
What is training like in Cape Town, man?
It means a lot of days left staying at home. Wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. for the flight, and the instructor's like, no bueno.
But it's beautiful as well. So how did campus compare with flight school in terms of the academic requirements and expectations?
It was really busy because I'd have the early mornings of flight training, then I'd come back to my apartment, freshen up, and then head straight to university for lectures. Then finish university, come home, finish university work, and also study for flying. So it was very busy. It was extremely busy. But wow. I kind of think you kind of need that discipline and being grounded from a good school, like you said. I like schools that are uniformed because it creates discipline from a very young age. And I feel like aviation is very similar. You have a lot of standards, and having a good background in school kind of elevates you when you get into your career.
Well, I always ask on my AIRMEN episodes for people to describe their family, because family is literally the first time you commanded a flight. It's the first time. It's a big deal, and I think one of the most memorable flights because it's almost surreal.
Yeah.
Do you remember your family? You remember first solo flight? Sorry. Do you remember your first solo?
I do. I remember it very well.
Talk about it.
I remember driving to the airport in the car, playing a song. It was called Fast Car. I don't know. I kind of got a bit emotional because I didn't actually know that today was going to be the day. That's a big day for pilots.
Usually happens like that. You don't usually have an idea. Or you're close, but you don't know if it's today.
Because you might have felt like yesterday's landing wasn't the best, but maybe the instructor wants to do another day of circuits. But I remember driving on the highway from my apartment to Cape Town International Airport, and I actually got a bit emotional. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be by myself in an aeroplane. I called my mom, texted the family. I think it was a bit embellished.
Wrote your will.
I didn't have much to my name back then. But I remember getting to the airport. I didn't do the solo at Cape Town International. It was far too busy. You got to be sequenced in between all these big jets. It was a small airport, maybe a 30-minute flight away. Went down, did a couple of circuits, and then the instructor said, full stop landing. We landed. And guy just hopped out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness.
This is it.
This is the one.
Nerve-wracking.
So I remember taxiing. It was an unmanned airport, so having to watch the circuit traffic. And I remember when I applied power, I took off. That instructor was a dead weight because this airplane just ascended so quickly.
Must have been a big guy.
At this time it was in a Cessna 152.
Okay.
So, it's 2 seats,
Yes.
side by side. The instructor may be, slightly heavier than I was.
Yeah.
But this thing, the rate of climb was unreal. I didn't actually know what was happening. By the time I got to the flap retraction altitude, I was like, oh my goodness, this is way quicker than I expected. And I went up and did the circuit. And I did one circuit. He said full stop landing. We landed in.
How do you feel when you touch down?
Grateful.
Surreal, eh?
Yeah, I felt very grateful.
Was there a ritual after? Like, was there anything after, like a washing or like a pint?
By the time we went back to Cape Town International, everyone in the flight school came, and of course, bucket of water over you, wet shirt. I was looking forward to that. That's a milestone.
Extremely memorable for Solis. What about you, Skipper? Talk about. I know you also trained in SA. You went to like the creme de la creme of flight schools.
Really?
43.
Oh, well, okay.
43 air school. 43 air school. I mean, in aviation terms, that's like Harvard, man. In terms of when you think about our continent, that's tip of the spear when it comes to training. So talk about your experience there. What was 43 like?
Well, 43. It was. I remember the first. I'll start with the first flight we ever did in 43.
What are you flying?
The Piper.
PA-28.
Cherokee. Yes,
Cherokee. Put a Cherokee on the screen for guys to see.
Yes. The 180. So we went a group of guys, about we were 13. And the heavier ones were put on the 180.
More horsepower, eh?
More horsepower.
Yeah.
The lighter ones were put on the 140. The one is lighter, one is, yeah. So we're all excited. Yeah, we're gonna be flying. We're gonna become pilots.
Yeah, pilots.
Pilots. Yeah. And I remember doing my first flight with the instructor. So they told us SA is very cold. We got there in May.
This is Port Alfred or Bishu?
Bishu. Yes.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle of South Africa. Remote place, So they told us, yeah, it's gonna be cold. So for the flight, as you go higher, it's gonna get cooler, and yeah, but not that cooler, It's just a few thousand feet, So now I overdressed.
Remind us to touch back up on this on a later conversation.
We'll circle back to this. You're in a trench coat.
Dude.
Marvin.
Everything, man. Gloves, everything. So now we were rolling down the runway. We started lifting off. And I remember feeling, oh my goodness, what the hell am I doing? Oh my goodness.
What have I signed up for?
What have I signed up for? The long and short of it is the whole flight, we landed back, and as I had questions in my mind, what am I really doing here? Is this what I'm really meant to do? Like I was sick.
You got airsick, huh?
Airsick. Nausea, headache. Remember, I was overdressed as well.
Yes.
It didn't help.
And I must say, because, and I've told people this before, like a familiarization flight is all things for most people. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exhilarating. I remember looking at I was in 172, so I could see the gear, and I'm thinking, whoa, like we're high up. This thing is tiny. What if we,
What if we,
What if we just fall out and tip over? And you question yourself, and like, how do I tell my family? Like, I have to just see it through.
I remember this plane is really small, so it responds to every wind gust. Everything.
Are you doing?
Yeah, hey, dude, man. I remember there's no AC in there, so it's a little storm window on the side.
Yes.
So now you open it. You try to get the airflow inside. Sometimes you have to stick your hand out to get the airflow inside. It was terrible. Day one was terrible for me.
How was it for your counterparts? Like when you came down not to share the stories of what Famil was, because you guys were in a group.
Yes.
What stories are you guys sharing? Are you telling them the truth?
That time we still don't know each other. Yeah. So you kind of like going through this on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they also wearing sleeping bags as well?
Yeah. I mean, some did, some didn't. And we have this, we call them monkey suits.
Oh, yes, the jumpsuit.
Terrible. So I got to my room. I'm like, I had to give myself a pep talk. Okay, Mike, is this what you really want to do? Can you go back? No. Okay. So I talked to a few guys. Good thing there was one of us who was already experienced. Like he had a PPL by the time he came to SA.
That's Steve.
Steve. Yeah.
Shout
Very
out,
nice guy.
shout out Steve. By
Shout
the way.
out
I
to
know
Steve.
him. I know him.
Very nice guy. So he just talked me through it. He's like, no, don't worry. This goes away. Like a week or so. Yeah. Your body adjusts to this new environment, And yeah, that's when I was like, okay, sour. And true to his word, as the days went by, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I can do this.
That's very important for the younger audience watching. There's someone here who's going to do a family soon, and just be aware that it might be scary. You might feel like, what have I signed up for? Just see it through. Case in point, he's a captain right now, and he's been bestowed with some very serious responsibilities, despite having such an experience on a family flight. So if you're watching and maybe you've done your family and you're feeling a bit iffy about it, just keep going, keep showing up. It gets better than that. But also talk about your first solo, because that's one of the most memorable flights, like we were saying, for a pilot.
All right. Yeah, mine was a bit different. For us, there was pressure. So we had to go solo within 25 hours of initial instruction. Yeah. So now when you get to 2021, you're like, hey, dude.
Almost kicking the guy out.
Yeah, man, this guy's, I need to be doing this solo. Yeah, round about now, because there's consequences like, hey, it would not reflect very well on your file.
Then now they need to call an external guy to come and...
Yes.
But a certain number of hours, I know there's all...
And they're very particular on your flying record, your training record.
Yeah.
So I can empathize.
And then you guys are a group. So that also, because I trained alongside Abinisho, I know there was quite a bit of silent competition.
Oh, yes.
That was happening.
Oh, yes.
So guys are always comparing milestones. And in a way, I think it helps as well, because you kind of keep each other in check. There's no one, you're all trying to pass a certain level within a certain time.
Yes.
So how was the flight itself?
Yeah, the flight itself, I just wanted to get it over and done with, to be honest. So the guy hopped out. Okay, that was an exciting moment. Okay, I'm going solo right now. So it's all you. You're doing the radios, you're doing the flying, you're controlling everything. I think it must have taken 6 minutes, 5 minutes. Up in the air, circuit, back to land. I was like, yeah, done. I was very happy.
I survived.
Yeah, I survived. That was my primary goal at the time. So I think I took it in later on. Actually flew an aircraft by myself. Yeah. So for me, at the time, I didn't really... It was just pressure. Get it off of me. And then did it. Now, going forward, actually, towards the tail end of my flying school program, that's when I started actually appreciating flying a bit more. Yes. I was like, okay, yeah, I can actually do this. I
can do it well.
I can do it well. There was confidence. I didn't have it at the beginning, but towards the tail end, yeah.
One thing I will say about Kenyans in SA when it comes to now the academic side, the theory side of flying, because in aviation, of course, you accumulate flight hours, but in tandem, you're also doing a curriculum which has 8 subjects. Abinisho guys are infamous or famous for breaking records, man. These guys are causing the rest of the fraternity sleepless nights, averaging 97s and 98s. There was a guy called, a captain now on the Embrace called Bob. He was called 4-ton Bob because he had 400s that had never been seen before. Ooh. How was the academic side for you?
It helped that we were in a group. And there was this, we were working towards a goal. Again, we were on tight deadlines, timelines, everything enforced, those so discipline was instilled in us. We needed to get this done with in this time. So you found guys were generally very focused. So that helped a lot. And then we were in a remote campus. Private students were in the main campus in Port Alfred.
Port Alfred, okay.
Yes. So we were in Bishu, in the middle of nowhere.
So there's no clubbing.
There was, but not too much, Yeah. We were in, off-grid, more or less, in the Bundus. So now when you get back to base, there's not much to do. You just need to do what you came to do. Yeah, so that really helped. So I would say that helped with our academics. Because again, there's a consequence. As a private student, you can get away with the, if you fail this exam, okay,
I'll just receipt it,
just receipt it and whatnot, and I can take as long as I need to. But for us, there was a timeline, so that I think helped.
I think also flying in SA is highly the experience of the actual flying. Like now, when you finish your private pilot license and you move on now to like the hour building phase, SA is beautiful, man. Do you guys remember across countries going to like George? Do you remember how beautiful that was? I think sometimes we take it for granted, man.
Beautiful country. Those guys are blessed. I mean, the terrain varies,
Yeah, you got the beaches, the mountains.
Yes.
Some in the winter it snows.
And I can never forget the fronts.
Yes,
Oh,
cold
yeah.
fronts.
Cold fronts.
You'll come and render a whole weekend redundant. Like you guys are not doing anything. There's a front passing from Friday till Tuesday.
Yes. So you're indoors all day. So, yeah, SA is really beautiful. And it's big.
It's very big. Yeah, quite vast.
Yeah, you'd go, on a 2-3 hour flight and then you just realize, you've just got in.
But remember, we were flying at probably 80 knots.
You're flying at 80 knots,
Or 90 knots.
Real hour building, eh? Slow, safe. Well, I mean, training in South Africa also, if you get the chance to go there, I mean, also the facilities. I mean, you can fly VOR to VOR. It's way more equipped than our environment. You get to do real night where you're actually taking off at 8 p.m., and coming back in the, I think that's also something that's really taken for granted. I know in Kenya, sometimes there's challenges with night cross country. So you'll find maybe they fly 6:30 to like 8 and maybe it's circuit. You're not really going. But also, it's a facility-based. It's because of the facilities that are available. So, training in South Africa, there's also quite an advantage to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talk about of course, you finish your PPL, you start your CPL. How were you guys able to? Were you able to pass your exams first touch?
For the CPL, I think I resat a couple of papers. You don't realize it's quite a big leap from what you've been doing before, but also from the 40-45 hours for your PPL up to the 200. A lot of time passes in between that, so you're not going to be consistently reading all the time. So knowledge can get lost, and you go back to it and read it. I do wish the syllabus here was a little bit more structured, or even better materials, because I always correlate it back to South Africa, where there was a very structured syllabus and you had textbooks that if you read the textbooks perfectly,
the curriculum was pretty cut out. You knew where to source information, and I think he's bringing it up in this way because we've shared. I finished my exams a short while ago, ATPL exams, and of course, because we're also first officers, we call each other like, "Yo, what did you read for this? What did you read for that?" But we're literally groping in the dark, man. So it's like someone goes ahead, and now they tell you like where to start looking for your source material. So KCA, if you're watching, we need a curriculum for guys to be able to actually know what to read. I don't know if that system is like that by design, but also to the people watching, when it comes to exams, man, it's a barrier of entry. Repeating doesn't mean you quit, man. There are many people who hang it up because maybe it's a third attempt, and you just have to see it through. It's one of those things, like a rite of passage that you just have to see through. Even if you repeat 4 or 5 times, keep going, eventually it works out. But one of the most interesting phases of flying I found was transitioning now from single engine to multi-engine. What was your experience with that? What did you fly for multi? Multi-engine, if you're watching, is transitioning from a single engine aircraft like a Cessna, we'll put on the screen, a Piper Cherokee, to like a Baron, 2 engines literally.
Yes.
What did you train on for your multi?
The Seneca.
Seneca 5.
Seneca, no. It was a Seneca 2, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah. 1 or 2, yeah.
How was that leap for you?
Again, as I mentioned earlier, that's when I really started enjoying the flying. There's this thing about the 43 Air School where at some point you transition from the jumpsuits to now like uniform, yeah, shirt.
Because now you're safe.
Shirt, yes.
See, the monkey suit is fireproof, right?
Yeah.
It's actually fireproof, from what I gather.
Yeah.
The reason you're wearing it is because you might veer off.
Did they also give you helmets? and elbow pads.
Oh man.
So was it a distinguishing moment to now wear uniform?
Yes.
That was CPL now?
That was I can't remember at what point, but yeah, there's at some point you transition.
I hope you have some pictures of you both in the jumpsuit and the uniform.
I'll try to look for some, yeah.
We'll be putting them on the screen right now.
Yeah, so now you feel like a pilot, like you're wearing bars, pilot shirt,
White shirt.
The thing. You remember, my dream was to look like that guy.
Yes.
So now I'm getting closer to looking like that guy. Maybe now the hat was not there, but now I'm flying.
How many bars? 1 bar?
Probably, I don't know.
1 or 2 bars.
1 or 2 bars, And now I'm getting into the Seneca. This is the trail end of the training. So Seneca, you only needed to do like about 40 hours or so. So that would go quick, really quick. And there's the promise of going back home. Remember, now I've been here about a year and a half.
Are you getting homesick by there?
Yes.
You miss home?
You miss home. You miss the food. Sometimes it's too cold, Some things we take for granted over here in Nairobi. Yeah.
What did you miss most about home? Because this is standard for foreign students, man. From the food, like you say, some ketepati.
I missed my family. I missed, I don't know, food and my family. Those two. Those two are biggest.
Those are major.
Yeah, those are major things. Yeah. So again, I'm coming back home to the promise of a job. I'm not gonna get start. I'm gonna get paid shortly, and I'm looking forward to all this. So now I was like, okay, now I need to act up. I need to be like an airline pilot. I need to start.
And flying the
part, yeah.
The multi as well. I mean, I remember I flew the Baron 55. It's a different, way more enjoyable. You actually now feel like you're flying because of the speed.
But it's also complex.
It's complex as well.
Variable pitch, retractable gear.
Managing 2 engines. I found it way more exhilarating. And what happens is you also, in tandem, you're doing your instrument rating. Instrument rating, of course, is flying without reference to outside. How did you find the IR side of flying?
I enjoyed every the flying in the Seneca, IR beat, cross country, whatever it was. I enjoyed it on the Seneca. It was faster, it was more powerful, it was even the demeanor of the instructor towards you kind of changes.
Bit of more respect.
There's more respect, and it's the same even in airlines, some KQ pilots tell me when you fly on the Embraer and versus the 7.3 versus the Dream, things change a little bit.
Or the disposition towards you now changes.
Yes, kind of changes, yeah. So yes, I enjoyed every bit of it. It was too short for me. Like I felt like I could have flown it a little bit long. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. And I think, I don't know. What did you fly on for the twin?
I also did the Seneca. I can't remember which particular model, but I have a very, very vivid memory on doing my GFT for my CPL. And the landing, when I came back into land, I remember the examiner didn't say that was a landing, that was controlled flight into the ground.
You arrived there?
I arrived, because we actually landed at night. It was an experience I hadn't really done too much of. I'd done a lot of the IR.
Yeah.
The requirement wasn't necessary to have night. Your transition, the flight was from day into night as you complete your GFT with an instrument approach. But I hadn't done too many circuits in this aircraft at night. Came back in and I remember thumping that plane down. And I was grateful that wasn't the reference point for my tick at the end of my examination form. But the whole experience on the twin, it's fast. A lot of things change. In the 172, the 150, you have a lot of time. The climb takes a while. Whereas on the Seneca, the transition, you're cruising, 150 knots, I think, or 140 knots, somewhere in that range. It's been a while since I've flown that aircraft.
It's significantly faster for sure.
60, 70 knots. Even the approach speed is quicker. Then all of a sudden, the examiner or the instructor is turning off engines, and you're having to counteract, asymmetric power and. Leaning it, tilting.
Asymmetric circuits, man. That's a TBT, man. What? What? Dead foot?
It's true, but it definitely gives you confidence because even now, I kind of like flying a plane with two engines because if one, on the odd chance goes off, you have this massive cushion. I do remember flying a 172 at night, and I said to the instructor, if I'm doing a solo at night and the engine cuts, what do? He just said, aim for a dark patch.
Yes, that's what they used to say.
Yeah, aim for a dark patch.
Aim for a dark patch. And some of those stretches, you'd be like, yeah, it's all dark, man. Like, this engine starts to... So what we do, we try go two of us. Not that it helps, but like just two brains, in case this engine coughs. You can actually think about it. But a single engine, now having flown multi-engine, I don't think I would go back to flying. Maybe a Caravan because it's
turbine.
One of the most safe engines ever created. So, okay, you guys finish and you come back, of course, to Kenya, right? And what was your path? I know you've flown before you joined where you are right now. You've flown as well before.
So I started off flying a Piper Super Cub.
Really?
Yeah.
Put a Super Cub on the screen. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I was flying in the north of Kenya, flying a Super Cub on a wildlife conservancy. Quite an interesting job, I would say. It was very varied. It wasn't...
This is a tail dragger.
This is a tail dragger, yeah. One behind the other. So imagine when you're training, you're at the front and the instructor's at the back.
At the back.
And he can't even see the instrumentation, so he's kind of relying on his, seat of the pants principle, which you shouldn't really abide by in IFR flying, but in VFR flying, 100% you fly by feeling on this aeroplane. And I remember on this plane, as I was learning to fly it, you could open the door. The door would completely open. And I remember looking outside and being like, oh my goodness, kind of that feeling of vertigo. But then when I started to do the stall training, he told me, pull the stick back, chop the power. And the reason you start to stall is because the door starts
flutter.
The physical door that was open starts to flutter. It was quite a surreal...
What about landing a tail dragger versus like a tricycle? How?
There's two landings. There's a 3-point landing on a Super Cub or a tail dragger or a wheeler landing. So the 3-point, as you come into land, you basically check the stick at a high pitch and it puts down. But the funny thing is, when you do a wheeler landing, you're literally flying the aircraft into the ground. But the benefit is you have these humongous tires, over 30 inches. They're huge, these big tires. They act as like a cushion.
So for you to not flip over, is that a speed thing?
Flipping is directional control because you don't have a nose wheel. So you don't have, control down the center of the runway. It's all on your rudder and your power and your differential braking. So if you're not coordinated, you can do a ground loop. And I do have friends who have ground loop their aircrafts, not naming names, but if they watch this
Bob. So what is the JD on a Super Cub? What's the job description? What are you doing?
I was doing a lot of wildlife surveillance.
Okay.
So
Anti-poaching?
Anti-poaching. I did some jobs with Kenya Wildlife Service. We were doing aerial censuses across the country. So counting elephants, buffaloes, Grevy's zebra.
So you say counting
rhino.
Elephants, you mean you're flying the aircraft, there's someone
behind us. It's actually quite an interesting setup because you fly these transects back and forth, and imagine on the Super Cub there's no autopilot, and you're flying 200 feet above the ground.
That sounds like fun.
Over varying terrain. It's not just flat, it's like up mountains and then down mountains. And the guy behind you's got a voice recorder, he's got a camera and a notepad, and he's having to, and a GPS, and as on the voice recorder, he's having to say, okay, position X, Y, Z, at latitude, longitude point, what he's seeing and the number. And what happens is when you finish the flight, you go back and there's a whole IT team that basically diagnose all your data and they tabulate it, and you get this incredible information displayed. And you couldn't realize what you're actually doing in this aeroplane with a voice recorder, a GPS, and a pen and paper. It's actually producing really beneficial information.
How long did you do this for?
I flew that aircraft for just over 2 years. It's take off at 6 a.m, fly for an hour or so, do your patrol. Sometimes I'd fly the owner of the conservancy, the owner of the aircraft. I remember once I flew from the conservancy to Nanyuki to pick up his groceries. That was quite... I was like, this guy's made it. This guy's made it.
What are you wearing to fly? Are you wearing a uniform, shorts?
Oh, no, it's so hot. Shorts, just sneakers maybe, and a hat. The Super Cub it has a perspex roof. So the sun is straight onto your face.
Really? So
I was lathered in sun cream because you're flying that aircraft, you get super, super hot. But it was cool because you could land on places that didn't have a runway.
So far you've flown, at this point you've flown 152. There's one you did the Family on. What that was
The Tomahawk.
Tomahawk.
I have flown a Cherokee.
You've flown a Cherokee.
You know what flight schools are like? Plane goes,
Yes,
gets
yes.
AOG. You
It's gone for check.
gone
and
for
then
a
you
check,
put
and,
on
you're
the
like,
other.
and then you're like, okay, what do I do? Okay, let's move on to the next plane. Luckily, most piston engines are fairly similar in terms of the setup.
Then you've flown a Seneca, and now you've flown a Super Cub.
Flown a Super Cub, yeah.
Where did you go after that?
After that, I transitioned onto the Caravan. I did more domestic flights across the country.
This is Mara.
Mara, Samburu, Amboseli, a couple of flights into Tanzania, into Uganda. Real eye-opening stuff. And this is when you first started going into real procedures. You know, it's no longer... SOPA. Now you're wearing a uniform. You know?
And I mean, I know it's. I mean, you worked for Air Kenya, right? This is a very reputable company in terms of they're renowned for standards. And Caravan in aviation terms is like the Land Rover of flying, man. One of the most reliable aircrafts. What did you experience on the Caravan, man? That's a nice aircraft.
Oh, phenomenal. It's such a performer.
Put a Caravan on the screen.
And you can put it into a strip that's pouring with rain and full of mud, and the aircraft will still land, be very, very comfortable. But also on the cruise, you know, it's pretty fast. Very, very quick. You know, carry 13, 14 people depending on the configuration. Big payload and super stable. And I remember flying this aircraft into Samburu. Maybe other people watching this podcast will understand. Coming into one of the Samburu airstrips, and the crosswinds are like 20 knots.
20 knots.
And the guy at the back is seeing the center line, you know. The passenger at the back is wondering, where is this guy landing? So,
And a Caravan, it's quite intimate.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can see.
they can see you sweating, basically.
Yes.
And then the last minute, you send to the aircraft and you land. But it's very, very durable and robust.
So you have some nice bush experience as well.
Oh, yeah. That's like 5 or 6 years on the Super Cub and on the Caravan. I do have a little bit of time on a Cessna 210 flying for somebody just ad hoc, you know, between jobs.
210 is which one? 210 is it complex?
Yeah, complex retractable undercarriage.
Ah, the RG.
And same speed as the Caravan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very fast.
So and at this time, do you have your sights set on the airlines, or what are you thinking?
Oh, yeah.
So are you accumulating hours towards like
At this point, absolutely. Progression is everything in aviation. It depends. People have different preferences. Some people are very comfortable flying small planes, but if they have a good work-life balance, you know, that's all it depends. Or some people have ambition. You as a little kid saw the guy in the hat and the uniform. I saw the same person, but I saw that through my granddad and my uncle. And for me, it was always like, okay, you know, they retired at like 30,000 hours. That's
30,000 hours.
Something like that.
Yo.
That's a few years in the air.
Yeah. It's not, and I don't know the figure. I should check the logbooks because I have them. But yeah, that's a whole career of flying.
Yeah, that's a lifetime of flying. What about you, Captain? You finish, of course, you finish 43.
Yes.
You come back.
So my path was kind of like cut out for me. Straight into the airline, straight into the deep end.
That is a huge leap. Coming from a Seneca.
Yes.
They put you on what? The Boeing.
Yes. The
Wow,
Boeing, the
that's-
737.
Put a Boeing 737 on the screen. This is a dream aircraft. Most pilots at some point before the fact have fantasized. I still fantasize about flying a 737, man.
Yeah.
But that's a quantum leap, man.
It was huge. I mean, we started training on it, and it was just so much to take in. There's just too much to learn, you know. The aircraft itself, the systems, you know, you can imagine on the Seneca and the Piper P828, the books are this small.
The entire book.
The
entire book,
The
yes.
PH actually has those rings like a checklist.
You know, you can go through it in like 3 days, done. Now you're handed over, you're given a whole FCOM, 737 FCOM.
And this is pre-iPad, is it?
Oh yes, this was pre-iPad.
It was a manual, actually, like a physical.
Oh yeah, so now you have to study it, and then you're told, okay, that's not the only manual you need to study. There's the operations manual, company manual. You know, this is how we fly this aircraft, and a host of other manuals. So there was a lot to take in. Of course, we went into jet orientation, so they kind of like
You did this in South Africa?
South Africa again.
On the 7.3 as well, yeah?
Yes. So now we did it on the classics. So that's the 73200, I believe. Or it's, no, 300, yeah. And then now we came back. So now I was to train on the 737 NG.
If I may ask, how important would you say that jet orientation course is for transitioning?
I think it's very important. I think it's like a familiarization flight for a 737. Like now everything is way faster. I mean, we were saying Seneca was faster than the 180, but this time around, you're doing speeds of, 250 knots, 280 knots climbing.
You're sitting on the first floor. I remember that's one of the first things also, the designer position, when you sit in the sim of like a 7.3 and you look at the runway perspective, you're up. That's something that also takes you aback.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's huge. All of a sudden, you're flying Mach speeds. This was a concept in flight school.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing it. Oh, we're actually at Mach 0.76, 0.73. So yeah, jet orientation was very important. So it kind of introduces you to the speed of things. So you come back, it makes the training a bit more easier. And so yeah, I did training on the 737, checked out on it, flew it a bit, and then
This is the 737 you said?
the NG.
The NG.
So that was the 700
huh?
and the 800.
Okay.
Yes. And then now I transitioned to the classic, the 737-300.
How was that transition? Because I've heard it's going from what do you call Apple Watch to to analog.
Yeah, in some
Put
respects.
them side by side. Put a 737-700 and a classic side by side. Put the cockpit so that people can see the difference.
Yes. In some bit, it was a bit of it's like going for an automatic gear shift to manual now. Yeah.
So that's like going from driving a car to a bicycle.
Yeah, the 300. A lot of guys like it actually. They like.
I've heard so.
Yes.
What is it about? What is that about?
I don't know. I think it's the
novelty of flying, or
yeah, just the flying and you have to. A lot of things are done for you on the NG, but now this is you figuring things out. You might get off track a little bit. The GPS is not working. Things like that. There's a bit more thrill in it.
And I must ask also, because I like. The reason I enjoy flying the aircraft we fly where we work is it's a perfect mix of automation and a bit of hand flying. So transitioning now from like a Seneca to a 737 where the hand flying is like limited now to like takeoffs and landings, and you're not just going to disengage the autopilot. Acha nishikilie kidogo. How was that? Because do you enjoy, most pilots do also enjoy flying, the stick and rudder side of things.
Oh, yeah.
How was that adaptation for you?
Again, as I say, as the bigger the aircraft, the less you get to hand flight, I realized. So, yes, you want that mix of hand flying, a bit of hand flying, and automation. Again, automation is very important. Relieves workload. You can chill, you can eat, you can,
And sleep.
Yeah, you can go to the bathroom. It helps. And so the transition was kind of. Yeah, it was okay at first, but with time, that's when you realize, okay, I need my stick and rudder skills. I need to fly a little bit more. Maybe I've forgotten how to do a circuit, for instance. Do
they try and capture that in the recurrency checks where you get to do some hand flying? Or
Oh yes, they try to do that a lot of the time. So remember, circuits for us was very fun. Solo, we did have solos in circuit flying, whatnot. But now in airline flying, you rarely do a circuit. It's, programmed, shortest route, save fuel, save time, whatnot. So, yeah, at least we get to do that in the simulator during our recurrency checks.
in case you're watching, you wondering what a recurrency check is in an airline environment, every 6 months you're put through some simulator training where different things are captured there it's like a refresher course of sorts, just to make sure that you're equal to the task. Basically, you're applying for a job again every 6 months. And it's a pass-fail situation. So it's just to keep you on toes in terms of studying, knowing your knowledge, and just keeping on toes, because of course safety comes first in the aviation world. So from the 7.3,
So the 737, so from the NG to the classic, and then now I transitioned to the Dash 8 Q400. Yes.
So you're one of the lucky few who flew the 7.3s for our company.
Yes.
You got to fly.
Yes, I did.
You guys were doing Mombasa.
We're doing Mombasa and
Every
Mombasa
day?
alone. Yes.
How was that? Was that monotonous, or at the time we were only doing Mombasa before the queues came?
Yeah, we're only doing Mombasa. For me, it worked out, actually. I don't mind routine. For me, it was, okay, now I'm flying Mombasa. It's about now getting to know the aircraft a little bit more, getting comfortable with it. So it helps to have just one route.
You can get
And
good
then
at it, yeah.
Yeah, you can get good at it and then focus on other things. So the route part is sorted. You don't have to study about the route, Now focus on, okay, what can this aircraft do? If we fly it fast, slow, try different things. So that worked out for me pretty well. I didn't mind it at all, actually. Sometimes we do 3 Mombasas in a day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple decker.
Triple.
But in the 7.3, that's very fast.
But it was, let me tell you,
Yeah.
on the queue, it's much. I'd rather do a 6-sector on the queue than on the 7.3.
So it's more tiring on this.
Oh, yeah, it's way
Because
more
a lot, you have to do things quick.
Yes, and then there's a lot more involved with even the setup, the turnarounds. Yeah.
What's the fastest you can turn around a 7.3? Turnaround time is like on ground when you land before the next passengers come in and board the aircraft for the next flight. On a queue, you can do it in 20 minutes. On a Q400-8, Q400. What about 7.3?
So they used to give us around 45 to 50 minutes.
Stairs.
Stairs. I mean, you're disembarking about 140 people. Grooming, setup, walk around, all that. 45 minutes, yeah. If you're
That's a quick turnaround.
That's still far. That is fairly quick.
Yeah,
for a big aircraft.
for a big aircraft. So that would really, but at the end of the day, you'd be dead tired. Yeah.
So at some point, the company, of course, starts becoming viable and they choose this Dash Q400 aircraft. We can put that on the screen as the aircraft now to start this version of the operation.
Yes.
And you guys were one of the first to train on this. So when you heard you're going to be flying, because there's this thing in aviation about jet and turboprop, and you've had the term Mapanga.
Mapanga.
You guys are now flying with the Pangas. And so how was that? Were you excited when you heard the queues are coming, or were you like, this is a downgrade, or what was your thoughts around that?
Yeah, of course, on paper, it's a downgrade. When you're talking to your peers, like, what? You're on the 7.3? And you've accepted to come onto the Q400? I mean, it feels like you've lost it. You've lost the plot, Mike. Everyone be going up.
7.3, 7.6, 7.7, 7.8.
Whatnot. But I did not mind it because Mike mentioned about work-life balance. The people I was working for, my job allowed me to be home, to be with family.
That's important to you.
Very important for me. And to do my other things, on the side. So I did not mind it. I was like, okay, I'm in a stable outfit. They pay on time. I'm happy here. So, you know what? It's an experience in itself.
And the aircraft is fantastic, man.
Actually came to learn that.
It's a very nice aircraft to fly.
Yeah, it's a very nice aircraft to fly. It was easier to grasp than the 737. And it's, again,
expound on that a bit.
Yes. So
easier to grasp. Because you've told me this, we've flown with you before and you told me, I remember you telling me that you found the Q4 was just easier to land than the 7.3. Is that because the 7.3 is a bit old school in design? And
I'd say for starters, the systems, they're not as complicated as on the 737. So when you're studying for it, like, it's easier. It can be done in some systems in even a few hours, You figured it out, okay, this is how this system runs. On the 737, there's a lot more detail. There's a lot of things to master. Number two, again, I think it is well balanced in that it is very automated, but then it offers a bit of hand flying, a bit of your involvement in it. For instance, there's no auto throttle.
Oh, yes, that's a big one.
Yes.
That's a big one.
So it means you manage your speed, manage your descents. So you're more engaged in the flying other than just programming and watching it, and also you monitoring. So I liked it. It was not as fast as the 737, but it was not slow. So it was somewhere in between.
And you train for this in Canada, or you train here?
In Canada.
Flight Safety
International.
Flight Safety do an exemplary job at training, man. Those guys have mastered how to train, man. Because I think it's 2 weeks of ground school and then 2 weeks of sim.
Yes. A month in total. So very nice training. I came back. It was a breeze. Like now the transition onto line flying was easy. Again, the Q400 very fuel efficient, so it's perfect for short hops, regional flying. So much respect to that aircraft.
So you assimilated direct from, of course, the mother company too. So that worked out almost seamlessly. But you at some point flying the Caravan, and you said you set your sights on, of course, the airline. So at what point do you join the airline?
Sorry, say that again. At which point what?
Do you join the transition out to the airline to fly the Q?
At which point I decided to change?
Yeah. Had you been trying all through, like sending CVs, applications?
I reiterated before. For me, it's all about progress. And, once you master something, for me, it's time to take on a new challenge. And the Q4 was an incredible opportunity because it was still based at home. You get to experience that airline life, but also you sleep in your own bed every single day.
Yep.
You may have an early wake up 3 or 4 times a week, but then another 3 or 4 times a week, you're going to be sleeping in until 10, 11 in the morning because you have an afternoon flight. So that little balance was great. And it's a fantastic introduction into the airlines for sure. And there's so many experienced captains in the company who are so comfortable. It gives you good feeling that this is such a stable place to be.
And also, I think flying the Q400 compared to like a Caravan, it's also more exhilarating. I think people also understate that.
But because it's so fast.
It's fast.
It's so fast.
A bit more complicated. I like the idea of a CRM, 2-man crew. How important is CRM to you guys? Before we get into the business of the day, because you guys did the whole purpose of today's podcast, of course, we're discussing a ferry flight that these gentlemen were able to do, bring a plane all the way from Canada into service into Kenya for the airline. And for you to do that together, CRM plays a very important role. How important is CRM for you guys generally?
Okay, there's a lot to say about CRM. I think it's at the core, at the foundations of aviation. For you to fly an aircraft safely from point A to B, you have to have good CRM. CRM is, you have to, if I were to break it down,
Yeah.
is ability to work with people in a way that would affect the outcome of the flight. Of course, we want a safe outcome. It's the ability to use all available resources at your disposal to achieve a safe and efficient flight. So what resources are there? Like, I have my co-pilot, I have my crew, I have my ground staff, I have my engineers, I have refueler. If you're able to work with all of them in a good way, in a respectful way, in a safety-minded way, of course, higher chances you'll achieve a safe flight.
Safe and efficient, yes.
And efficient flight.
And over the years, CRM is something has really improved in terms of aviation, because, of course, a lot of these things were come up with because of problems of the past, where I've talked about it before, where in territories like Asia, where they have a reverential thing around age, where you'd find maybe the first officer would never speak up because age is something that's so revered. So you're seeing this old guy maybe doing the wrong thing, but because he's like a sensei, you don't say anything, resulting in, of course, things that are not ideal or not safe. So onto the business of the day, you guys were, how did you guys what was the process of even getting the chance to do the ferry? Because that's such a privilege, man. I think that's a ferry flight for any pilot is a bucket list moment. It's actually quite an honor, man. Like, I've spent time watching, there's a page I watch called Cockpit Casual where that's all they do, and I always find it so fascinating. So how did you guys get picked? Were you guys excited? This is your first ferry?
Mike?
Yeah, it was the first ferry.
First of all, what is a ferry flight? Maybe you can tell the audience. What is a ferry flight?
So basically, you're flying an aircraft from A to B, so whoever the previous owner was, or the manufacturer, and you're bringing it back to your home base, essentially. So working for an airline, that process is conducted internally. There are a lot of organizations like the one you were talking about who contract ferry pilots to fly from A to B. But in our organization, the way we're trained, we have the skills to be able to conduct that ourselves. No, you don't necessarily have to employ a third party to do that for you. So for me, the information came quite quickly. I remember the chief pilot posted asking who has the ability to fly to Canada, visa requirements, etc. So I put my hand up. I know in the company a few other of my colleagues have done such a journey, but I think they're trying the way they're trying to conduct it is they're trying to make it accessible for many people because it's an experience.
It's quite an experience.
You can't really teach that; you have to experience it. So I was one of the few people who actually had the ability to travel at very short notice to Canada to collect this aircraft. And I remember getting a call from the PA to the CEO all of a sudden saying, I'm going to send you some details for some flights to Canada. I was like, wait, this is actually happening? She's like, it could happen tomorrow or it could happen in 3 days. So I was like, whoa, okay.
So short notice.
It was extremely short notice. I was actually on leave. I had taken some time off after I was out of the country flying for 2 months, and I'd taken a couple of weeks leave. But when this information came to my table, I was like, okay, I think this is more important than the leave.
Of course.
So I upset a lot of my friends and family because I did have personal plans for the rest of the month.
He cancelled his wedding. He told his wife, you know what? The ferry flight calling. Till next time.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was, I think my family and friends understood what an opportunity this would be. So I think they accepted it. They were very supportive. I wasn't even sure who I was flying with. The crew, the team, or even the destination. I didn't exactly know where we were going or how we were getting there. I was just sent a flight itinerary and said, like, you can select these flights. I was like, okay, how do we begin to prepare for this? And that's when I found out it was Captain Moturi here, and I gave him a call, and they were like, yeah, we're flying tomorrow evening.
And that's just for wider context. A ferry flight, for those watching, is literally an airline has procured a new aircraft. It could be by buying it or leasing it. So the aircraft has to be brought from whatever location it's at to come and now enter service for the airline that it's flying for. So they send their crew. And usually they try to send experienced crew. People who are equal to the task, and usually that's experience-based. So you actually fly out as a passenger, and you go to wherever the aircraft is, and you fly it back. So the interesting thing around this is we're used to flying our routes as an airline. Now you're flying it from a whole other continent, and that's why for pilots it's such a big deal. It's like an honor, and you're flying an empty aircraft across the ocean or across different territories. It requires preparation. It requires, of course, experience comes into play. So when do you get the call for the ferry?
Yeah, a few days prior.
Did you have any clue, or it was also just because I know right now, of course, crew is a bit short, so they're trying to always manage how they delegate tasks.
Yeah, initially I don't think they had planned for me to go, but further down, closer to the departure date, they decided to change, and they gave me a call. Hey, Mike. So things have changed. You're the one operating that ferry flight. I'm like, what? Really? Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. So we had a few days to prepare, to pack, get all the thermal clothing, thermal wear.
The sleeping bags.
Sleeping bags. I told it's going to be cold, eh?
Winter time, huh?
Winter time, yeah. And so, yeah, we just left. I've done it before. I was a first officer then.
So first time now as a captain.
Now, first time as a captain.
The buck stops with you.
Buck stops with me. Flying through international airspace, different countries. Icing.
Snow.
Heat.
So from a preparation standpoint, forgive me if I sound naive, like, do you guys also, like, when it comes to the routing, are you guys involved, or that's just ops? When it comes to like the routes you'll use, is that prepared by operation, by dispatch, or do you guys have a say? So do you come together? Is there like a meeting, a briefing? This
is actually quite an interesting question, because I think the whole flight planning, which was done extremely well from start to finish, it was an outsourced company in correlation with our own team and operations.
Okay.
We were given maybe the day before the anticipated routing.
Okay.
And a lot of these international flights are down designated airways, etc., etc. And I remember, this is jumping forward a bit, we were sitting in the hotel in Canada and we got the flight routing. And I remember saying to Captain Moturi, I don't know where these points are. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know where these points are. Because I was looking at the
High-low.
high-low charts. And I'm like, where are they getting these points from? And I had asked pilots back in Nairobi who have third-party EFB.
Hashtag 4Flight.
Yeah.
4Flight, if you're watching,
Yeah.
we'll be happy to be sponsored.
Oh, yeah. I was even asking them, can you please plug this route in onto your iPad? Because we didn't have that.
Yeah.
And even they were like, this isn't a standard route. And going back and forth, I realized that the routing that we had been given on day one was actually a Canadian database. It wasn't like a Jefferson database. So we had been given this flight plan with waypoints that we didn't have access to. Luckily, through good communication throughout one of our departments, we were sent the flight plan from a previous ferry. And all of a sudden, it had all the routes, all the waypoints available, and it made a lot of sense. So actually going through the routing in advance was such a bonus, because come the day of departure, we get given an ATC clearance along this airway, and we don't know where these points are.
That speaks to, of course, preparation.
Yeah.
And a ferry flight, you cannot half prepare a ferry flight, end up airborne, not knowing really where you're going. So where was the aircraft actually? Which city, which town, where was the aircraft located?
Aircraft was in a place called Ferry. That was about an hour's drive north of Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were to take it from there all the way to Nairobi, of course, with the
Different waypoints.
different waypoints.
What are the
different stops.
conditions, meteorological conditions in Ferry?
I remember landing in Toronto and getting the Uber, and I think I just had a feather down jacket in my bag, and I was like, guys, we need to get in the car now.
You guys traveled together?
Yeah, it was the engineer,
John. Yeah.
John Moturi.
Shout out Mutule.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
The three of us, we traveled together, but I remember it was so cold. I remember looking at the dashboard of the Uber. It was like, what, minus 12 or something. And I was like, this is not Kenyan temperatures.
Captain
we
Mutule
are not ready for this.
didn't have something extra.
No, he was well
I was
prepared.
prepared, man.
Gloves already on,
Yep. Yeah, it was cold. I mean, that was a fast shocker. But then again, yeah, we were prepared again. You talk about preparation. There's a lot more that goes into a ferry flight. Save the excitement and the hype around a ferry flight. There's a lot of preparation. So this is you flying out of a country that you never fly out of normally. Not only that country, but also other countries, different airspaces. There's you have to prepare for contingencies. Okay, now if this happens, what do we do? If we need to land now while en route, where do we go? How high is the terrain? You're not familiar with the terrain. Yeah, I don't want to crash into some mountain.
It's not 10-9, 16-2, and 3,000 at a destination, 3,000 to the left.
Yeah. So there's a lot of preparation. Like I remember everywhere we'd land and spend the night, like you'd not be really at peace. Like you have to really start preparing for the following day. Like you have to look at the waypoints, the routing. Does it make sense? You have to get familiar with it. You have to anticipate. Again, aviation is all about preparation. Preparation ensures safety, efficiency.
What resources are you guys using apart from the prepared planning? Are you guys of course, internet and so? What resources come in handy for that?
Okay, for starters, this guy was very resourceful. He had friends who had done ferry flights, who had flown across the Atlantic. So they were giving us a lot of useful material, especially for contingencies, emergencies. This is what you do. That give us real-time info this has changed, this regulation has changed, the procedure has changed, now we're going to do this, it would have taken us a lot of time to dig, if we were to do it by ourselves. So that really helped. So being prepared, getting all the information that is required. And before you depart, before you set foot into that aircraft.
So from Barry, what's your first stop?
It was Barry to Goose Bay, but the interesting thing about the airfield that the aircraft was based at was an unmanned aerodrome. So there was an ATC. So, we're also now having to try and figure out the local procedures. So one day I went with the engineers to the aircraft or to the hangar, and I saw a 172 pilot. I think they work for a survey. They work for an oil and gas company, and they'd parked their aircraft into the hangar, and I went up to them, and I said to them, "Can I pick your brains for some local knowledge of this airport?" And they sat down with me in their little room with a whiteboard, and they basically explained to me the departure procedures. They gave me telephone numbers of different flight information centers for me to call and say that we're new to this. What can we expect? So the importance of doing some groundwork before was so helpful, because I spoke to the person who was going to give me the clearance once I had entered his airspace. So we were ready. We knew what he needed. But had we just taken off, they had asked us for our entire flight plan, which was like...
How many waypoints?
15, 20, maybe more waypoints.
Yeah. With ETAs and...
Yeah, so, and I knew what to expect. So I had all of this information written down. So before we departed, I had called them. And the funny thing was, just as we had entered the aircraft before taking off to Goose Bay, I called this particular number and I gave them the flight details, and they're like, "Your flight plan is taking you to Vancouver." And I was like, "No, we're going east. We're going to Goose Bay." So imagine we got airborne and they had filed the wrong flight plan.
Oh, wow.
I think it was an error on the Canadian side, because on our side, our waypoints were routing to Goose Bay.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the guys, but it was an internal Canadian. I don't know what happened exactly.
So something we don't interface with in our environment here is like anti-icing, de-icing, all of that. Is that something you guys had to do? Being familiar with the fluids and holdover times and all of that. Is that something you have to prepare? I know it's in our manuals.
Yes.
So did you guys have to do those procedures?
We certainly anticipated that we'd need to de-ice at some point. Luckily, we actually did it once.
Yeah.
Only once.
It was a bit further down the line.
Okay.
Yes.
Not in Toronto and nor in Goose Bay.
So let's talk about the first sector. This is from, you said, Barry to Goose Bay. How long was that?
It's about, 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5 hour flight time.
How was the airspace? Busy?
Was, not really. Actually, lots of ATC frequency changes. So you're just flying and then you're handed over to this guy and to the next and to the next and to the next.
We probably spoke to like 300, 400 people. Not on day one, but in total.
Yeah, in total, yeah. There's a lot of frequency changes.
What time do you guys depart? What time of day?
I was in the afternoon.
Yeah.
About maybe, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 p.m. And we had to fly east to Goose Bay, which is right at the edge of Canada on the east side. Yeah.
Yeah, on the Labrador Sea.
Yeah. So spend the night. And then now, the following day, we depart now for Iceland.
In the morning?
In the morning.
So now during your downtime, are you guys, of course, convening to plan or project the route, just discuss what you're going to do tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Prior preparation, again. You have to plan. Again, this is not a route that you're used to doing.
Yes.
So you get as much info as you can. We liaise with the flight operations team in Nairobi, get our flight plans. We put it out on the map, see whether it makes sense, try get the frequencies, try get the departure times, everything. Get the aircraft refueled, get the guys ready in case we need de-icing in the morning, logistics, hotel, where we're sleeping, are we having dinner, small things, but really go a long way.
And also not an aircraft you've flown before. I mean, it's the same type, but all aircrafts have their small nuances. Anything different about this specific one that like caught you by surprise? It's a cheeky laugh.
It doesn't have a sink.
Okay.
In the washroom. That was something interesting. So I made sure to buy some wet wipes. I should actually send the bill to to the company for that.
Yeah. No, sink a bit out. in the old school side when it comes to the software on the flight.
There's no V app.
computer. There's no V app.
Vina VPath.
There's no VR. There's a few things that were lacking from the ones that we are used to.
Is there auto tune for the?
No.
Now auto tune of
You have to go manual.
frequencies. Yeah, you have to go manual. But not much of an issue really,
No.
because there's an aircraft that was similar that we were flying previously.
You've gotten used to it. Yes.
So we were like, okay. So it's like the other one. Okay, cool. Let's do this.
So what about day 2? What's day 2? And at every phase, are you feeling like mission accomplished? Is that like a day 1 done? Superb.
It is a very fulfilling feeling knowing when you've landed and you are leaving the airport to the hotel to rest, and then you know you're going to have a warm shower, you're going to have a nice meal. But we're operating in environments. Goose Bay in the morning was minus 19 degrees Celsius.
Minus 19.
I have never been so cold in my life ever.
Oh man.
Minus 19, even the walk to the aircraft. That's quite something.
That was
huh?
painful.
Yes, it was painful, like literally painful.
Chilling, huh?
Yeah, like your phalanges, like you feel.
Fingers and toes are frozen. You know, doesn't matter how hard you try to cover them up. It's just so cold.
Yeah, the exterior, the walk around, the external inspection of the aircraft.
Were you making Patches do the walk around?
No.
So typically the captains like to, when it's raining, when it's drizzling, as a first officer, that's your day for the walk around.
And I think we were all in this together. Our goal was to get the job done, like help each other out. We had
There was a lot of programming on the FMS because the flight was so 4 or 5 hours, and we had to manually plug in all the waypoints. So it would take a lot of time for the cockpit preparation as well. So yeah, definitely the workload was split.
What is the engineer's role primarily? What is he up to?
Oh, he has to do his checks again.
Okay.
Before he hands over the aircraft to you as a captain. So he does his checks, which was torturous for him again in Goose Bay.
He was telling me he was getting frostbite on his fingers.
Hey man, that's 19, man.
Because when he was removing panels and stuff, having all these big gloves on your hands, it's very difficult to access. So a lot of the time he was actually taking off his glove to access the panels. And I was like, this guy, put your gloves back on, man.
Yeah. Because you can't have dexterity with gloves on.
Yeah.
Even in the flight deck, trying to program on the FMS, I actually took the gloves off because it was easier to type in all the individual waypoints, because if you start making errors, it takes more time.
Yeah.
And what do you carry to eat? Is there, because there's no service, there's no in-flight, or you plan yourself, you pack your own food, or how does that work?
So on most days we'd have there's a contracted company that was handling all this. So the catering, handles the catering, the accommodation, and also just the flight planning. So it was like 3 in 1.
Okay.
So we would make arrangements prior, like book prior if we want this catering brought on the aircraft at this time. So we'd have that. So in the morning when we get to the aircraft, it's a matter of just loading it onto the aircraft, making sure it's there. And then now we look forward to the next stop, like what's going to happen. Do we need catering? No. Maybe we're going to need it when we night stop somewhere. Yeah. So it was all seamless, actually.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Well, very well done. Yeah. So
now, how was day 2? What's the sector?
I think this was the most challenging sector for me personally out of the entire trip, because now we're crossing extremely high latitudes across the North Atlantic. There are fairly strict procedures in place, especially because of radar coverage, communication coverage. So we had discussed the point and we had gone over it. And it's not just so much the specific routing, it's the contingency procedures. If you have an engine failure,
escape routes,
if you have a communication failure, if so many things can go wrong and you're over the ocean, you don't really have too many options.
Sector, how long?
4.
Yeah, about 4 hours.
Maybe 4.5 hours. That was the average flight time, I'd say, per sector.
This is over water.
All over water.
We hardly ever fly over water like this. So what is this like for you guys?
To be honest, it was overcast below us, so we really couldn't see too much over the ocean. I was quite disappointed because we were flying over the southern tip of Greenland, and that would have been a spectacular sight to have seen. So I imagined it, but sadly we didn't get the chance to see it. But definitely coming into Iceland was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen, because you can just see in the abyss these huge glaciers and all this snow. Everything is white.
Do you have video of this?
Somewhere in the archives, I've got some footage. Yeah.
Hopefully, we can be running it on the screen. And
Yeah.
are you guys doing what? RNP, ILS? What? How are you navigating to these different airports?
So we preferred RNP approaches because now ILS would have been, transition out to the ILS would have been a bit more workload. So RNP is straightforward.
Yeah.
Like fly to this point. If you're doing an arrival, it just transitions you all the way in. Minimums are fairly low. So, and pretty accurate, to be honest. So RMPs worked for us. So we just came in. Again, our aircraft was a bit challenged with the FMS tuning and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, so you have to be a bit on top of things.
Yeah. The workload, new airspace, new airport.
So who's flying what? How do you decide who's flying which sector? We toss a coin. How are you guys deciding who's flying what?
I think it was, there was always a question, would you like to do this particular sector kind of thing? Like if you had a preference, okay, I'll do this, you do this kind of thing. But usually it was like leg for leg. You do one, I do one, you do one, I do one kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now you spend the night here as well?
In Iceland?
Yeah.
Yes, because again, we were losing time. Remember?
What's the name of the city?
Keflavik.
Keflavik, okay.
So now we're flying east. Yes, we've done 4 hours. We left in the morning, but now we get to Iceland. It's like 5, 6 p.m.
Yeah, you've lost like 4 or 5 hours of the day.
Yes.
Because you're crossing
Yeah.
multiple time zones.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is that on the body? Are you starting to feel it yet or not yet?
To be honest, not yet.
No.
Not just yet. Yeah. So yeah, we had to spend the night at Iceland. Now to prepare for a very long leg. So the next day was Iceland to the UK, Exeter.
Exeter.
Yes. And then
How
Exeter,
long is this leg?
about 4 hours again. So all legs from then on were about 4 hours. So
And 4 hours in a key is long, man.
it's long.
I remember Goma 1 hour 40 was long. So 4 hours. 4 hours.
4 hours.
Are you guys going back to stretch a bit?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, take turns.
Yeah.
So you take turns, maybe go grab something to eat, maybe bathroom break, stretch a bit, maybe just stand, walk around, walk down the aisle. Oh, not really. Yeah, but
Practicing.
Practicing, come back. And then come back to the flight deck, take turns. Again, remember, in these 4 hours, you have to be very vigilant, you're attentive, you're listening to radios, you're watching everything, watching your fuel, making sure everything is as is or as it should be.
Did you guys have the flight plan on ARMS, or that was because when we were publishing we'd see the ferry flight on ours? So did you guys have?
Yeah.
Were you capturing fuel there, or now it was like manual?
We were capturing fuel manually now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now it's not really assimilated into ARMS like that. Like
Okay.
it comes like on the trip kit. Just
Not the. I get.
Yes, you get it. Yeah. So we had to do it manually, fuel checks. Yes, and get it done.
Plus stories galore, man. 4 hours.
Yeah. There was a lot of stories. But one thing that we've never been used to is we were flying with tailwinds over 100 knots. The airspeed on the aircraft was something else I have never seen before.
What are you getting on a ground speed?
Close to 400.
400. Yeah.
400.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was, it made the journey a bit shorter. I was just imagining like if
The inverse.
The inverse, yeah, I don't know whether we'd have even enough fuel to
Yeah.
get to some of these destinations. But the tailwinds really helped us a bit, yeah.
How was the UK airspace? How was it getting into Exeter?
It was fairly straightforward.
Was it busy?
Exeter is not a busy airport. It used to be a hub for Flybe. Since that stopped, there was British Airways does some maintenance in there. There's a few flight schools who, do some circuit training.
So you're landing there in the evening.
No, Exeter was day because that was the first stop of 2 from Iceland. I think we took off Iceland about 10.
Actually, 6 a.m.
Was it? Oh, that was the early morning.
Yeah, the early
6.
morning.
Oh yeah, 6 a.m. So we were in Exeter, mid morning.
Yeah, mid-morning.
But the remarkable part was because we were above the clouds for the entire journey. We drop through the cloud layer, you know you're in the UK because it's just green. You know?
Beautiful landscape.
Beautiful green. Yeah.
So you get this specific day you don't night stop. You do a stop and then another departure.
Yes.
How long was your turnaround? Like what a turnaround time?
So our turnaround was pretty fast, actually.
30
40 minutes.
30, 40 minutes. We just stopped by, got fuel, got some catering, and then, took some few photos, just took in the place a little bit.
The gentleman who actually met the aircraft used to fly for Flybe, used to fly the Dash 8.
And Flybees, they're famous for, of course, being a very high utility Q4
They have
operator.
76, I believe. I mean, check the facts, I'm not sure, but I think you told me 76 in the fleet at their peak.
Q4s.
76 Q400s.
Damn.
It's a big operation. But he was very happy to receive us. Very happy. I was gasping for a coffee. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we hopped into the into the FBO van. We hopped into his office. And these FBOs, these flight briefing officers, every single destination we went to, so nice.
Friendly.
Yeah, but they had like coffee machines. They had fridges with sodas, snacks, food, all kinds, showers, TVs. In the washrooms there were shaving kits and very catered towards us. And yeah, we went into the flight briefing office and I think I had 2 coffees.
Yeah.
And this was within 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, then you're airborne. Now, where are you guys heading from Exeter?
Now we're headed to Malta. So now we wanted to arrive Malta with daylight. So that's hence our turnaround time. We kind of expedited the whole process. So another 4-hour flight. But now we're going into a place that is warm. Like now.
Warm.
From -19 to -1.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
something.
I mean, during this trip, even 1 degree now
was
felt warm.
good. Yeah, 1 degree was.
Yeah. So another 4-hour flight. Again, departure procedures, pretty easy, straightforward. And then there's this thing where they just give you shortcuts. If there's no traffic, they just tell you direct to a certain point. So you bypass some points along the way.
Save on time and fuel.
Yeah.
Save time on fuel. And remember, again, during this time with the Iranian one, this is a time to save,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, awesome. Let's get direct routings to different points. Made our journey a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You landed in Malta at what time?
4, 5.
5-ish? Yeah.
Tired, eh?
Yeah, it was
It's
a lot.
8 hours of flying. It's a long day.
It was a long day. And coming into Malta, we had weather.
Oh.
What kind of weather?
Yeah, let him tell us about it.
Tell us about the weather.
We had
Who's PF?
into Malta. It was me. I was flying.
Pilot flying, if you're watching.
But I remember there was a lot of weather. We had asked for, deviations on the approach to avoid weather. But I remember turning on to final, and our engineer was sitting on the jump seat. We like to document some of our landings and takeoffs, so he was sitting on the jump seat, and we break through the cloud layer, turn on to finals. But then I realized I was looking for the runway, but it wasn't straight ahead because when I looked at my MFD, we had like a 40-knot crosswind. It was.
Oh, so you were like.
It was completely sideways.
You guys were crabby.
So badly. The wind was pumping, absolutely pumping.
Crosswind technique.
Hey.
You picked the sector.
Yeah, we joked that I had always picked the bad sectors because I always had the bad conditions on landing. But
So Katsi, before Katsi.
He's rated right now.
Yeah. 40 knots is wild, though.
yeah, and I coming down onto touchdown, I can't really remember exactly what the crosswind component was, but it was still significant. And as we were coming across the threshold, we get a little bit of wind shear. The plane shakes. I remember having to advance power levers considerably because speed had dropped. And I remember looking back at the video from the engineer just as we're coming down to
Do you have the video?
John Moturi must
Engineer
must have.
We'll be running it as this story is going.
But I remember all of a sudden he was filming and then he wasn't filming.
Because now he's watching to see what's going on.
And I think he's got 2 hands on the seats and he was trying to brace himself because, coming down, it was raining. I think it was raining, very strong crosswind. It was very bumpy. And the point is, you're not planning to put that plane down on butter.
No greasers here.
You're just
man.
trying to put this thing down because those conditions are quite severe.
Positive landing.
So it wasn't bad, but it was definitely contact.
So some stick and ladder training as well.
I remember I think my entire foot was depressed trying to get the aircraft straight on the runway.
Did the engineer have to sit in the jump seat all through? That's not comfortable for 4 hours, man.
No.
He'd also sit in the cabin, huh?
He'd come in during the takeoff and the landings.
And you're flying with the door open, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we would. But again, it's an uncomfortable. We are used to having it closed.
Closed, yeah.
So we'd maybe have it closed if during cruise he'd go back and just chill, maybe take a nap. So, but we'd call him
several naps.
Yeah, we'd call him for the
landing.
For the landing.
Okay.
So yeah, and then again he was taking video clips of us.
So now in Malta, how far along the journey are you guys?
Halfway. This is day.
Yeah.
This is day 3.
Halfway
Day
must
3.
come with a sense of fulfillment as well. Like we're half the job is done. Of course, on our side of things in Nairobi, we're getting updates. There's that animation the company did where they kept saying, "Now these guys are here, these guys are here." So halfway is a nice place to be. Where next? How's Malta by the way? How's the hotel? I imagine you're tired.
The experience leaving the airport was quite lengthy because we had remote parking. We had to be marshaled. We had to be towed. So it took us an hour and a half, I think, after we landed to actually leave the airport. So that elongated already an extremely long day. And we were, at this point, we were zombies. We were
Tired, huh?
We were very tired. And
Yeah.
once we got into the vehicle transfer to the hotel, I think we were just heads on the side, kind of waiting to just get back. The excitement for me of being in a new city at this point, I just wanted the hotel bed. I was just exhausted.
How long is the rest time? What's the stipulated rest time on you guys? How long do you? Is it just a night?
Yes. So initially, they decided to we were to spend 2 nights in Iceland, but because now we were kind of behind schedule, like we were to depart earlier than we did out of Canada. So they decided, okay, we cannot spend 2 nights in Iceland. We'll spend 1 night, and then the reason for spending 2 nights was just to get our bodies acclimatized. Yeah. Time zone changes and whatnot. So just let your body figure this out, get comfortable, then you can start again. But now because of schedule changes, again, common in airlines, so we had to adjust and
Agility.
oh yeah, you have to be agile, you have to be flexible. So we had to adjust. We spent 1 night in Iceland. Again, we are spending 1 night in Malta. But then again, there's the limitations. You have to do minimum rest.
Minimum rest, yeah.
Yeah, so we do at least 11 hours, close to 12 hours of rest.
How was that sleep? Tense, eh?
Oh, it was good.
Some restful sleep, huh?
Yes. Again, I remember getting to the hotel room, put my bags aside, again, start preparing for the next day.
Flight, yeah.
Yeah. What's the flight plan saying? Is this a route that we can, is it viable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Do we have fuel? How much fuel do we need? How's the weather like? What airports have they given us en route?
What are some
alternates?
weather apps you'd recommend? Does Windy come through that side?
Yeah.
Windy's a good app, huh?
Yeah, they have weather radar. We don't have weather radar here on Windy. You have precipitation forecast or temperature or satellite, but you don't actually have weather radar. So North America has weather radar. I can't remember checking in Malta if they had it, but Windy is definitely
Solid app. Huh?
a good app. Yeah.
Yeah, I also like Avia Weather. Yeah. It gives you the raw Met report, tough in raw format. Yeah. So that was also nice. But I would say for the whole trip, we didn't really get like very bad weather.
No.
Thankfully. Yeah, like, battling CBs and, proper
Score lines.
squall lines and whatnot. So
I
that
think
was good.
the only time we had weather was when we had to de-ice out of Iceland. That was quite the experience, because they did the inspection and they realized that the ailerons were frozen to the rest of the wing, and the horizontal stabilizer was also frozen. And they come up with a tractor, and the guy comes and does an inspection.
Or like they were attached.
Yeah, there was a whole.
Oh,
it was
damn.
all frozen.
Yeah. Wow, that's different. Something we don't ever get to see. Thankfully, also though.
Yeah.
So from Malta, where next?
So now from Malta, we are headed to Egypt, place called Aswan.
Aswan.
Yes.
How long? That seems like a long sector.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the African continent is not depicted correctly on the map because
Say that one more time.
yeah. Africa is
It's not to scale.
yeah.
yeah. Oh man, it was huge. Yeah.
Wow. That sector was definitely the longest.
How long is this? From Malta to Aswan?
It was
1.5 maybe.
no, I think it was more than that. It was close to 5 hours.
Close to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 hours is long.
Yeah. And then there's that feeling.
But now you're feeling like getting closer to.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely kicking in.
Oh, now the fatigue.
No, you could smell home.
Ah, okay.
As soon as you took off out of Malta, it's looking to see Africa,
Yeah. And then you see the coastline. Like, okay. And then when they say when you get into Africa, you'll know you're in Africa.
What the accent or the ATC accents?
Things change, man. Like from the ATC, all of a sudden,
Air traffic control. ATC.
air traffic control, the frequency is a bit. There's a bit of static. There's a bit of you call them once, twice.
Say again.
They're
What
not-
is your call sign?
The registration of the aircraft.
Okay. Already at this point it's JXP.
Yeah.
Juliet X-ray Papa already.
Yes.
Okay.
So all through actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, you try to call them, they can't hear you, or you can't hear them. So you just fly, and then all of a sudden, you're now in Egypt, and it's all brown. Previously we were in Malta, in Europe. I mean, views, the Alps.
Oh,
Yeah, remember the Alps? That was quite a sight to behold. Remember, we're now at 25,000 feet as opposed to airlines flying at 36,000.
Yes.
So now you can see it clear.
So wow, that must have been quite the picture.
Yeah.
You have the pictures, I hope.
I
Or the
think,
videos. Yeah,
should be there.
nice,
Should be
nice.
somewhere there. Yeah. So that was really nice.
I hope you're taking notes, huh?
The Alps, that was definitely a highlight. And so now we pass all that. Now we're entering into Africa, and for Egypt, I mean, it's pretty dry for the most part. So now it's all brown, and
Desert almost.
Desert.
Complete desert,
literally,
yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, there's a feeling like, okay, now
I'm getting close to home.
I'm getting closer to home. Yeah. But the flight time again is still long. Like it looks like you're almost there, but
But still far.
you're still far. Yeah.
So how long was the turnaround, or did you guys spend the night? You spent the night, of course.
no. Aswan was just a fuel stop.
So temperature has now changed, man, significantly. When you disembark the aircraft, that's like a different world, man.
So we get the
It's hot.
Met report,
Yeah.
and you're like, say again. Temperature 39 degrees,
Celsius, 39.
39
39.
degrees Celsius
From minus 19.
from minus
Yeah.
19. Now you're at plus 39. I'm like, what? Okay. So we land. That was our shortest tech stop. I think we did maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, hey, we need to be out of here.
Does flying over such varying landscapes give you an appreciation of just the world in general? Like just seeing Alps, like you said, to some greenery, to desert. Like, did it have like a nice, almost poetic thing about it?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely did. Because not many people, a lot of people who travel see it through a small side window.
On the side,
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're sitting on the aisle and you see nothing. But for us, we have this panoramic view of everything. And the transition between all of these different environments was quite breathtaking. I wish it had been more clear on a lot of the sectors. Over Egypt, it was, again, because of the dust in the atmosphere, it was very hazy. Visibility wasn't too good. So we only really saw the airport, about 5,000 feet above ground.
Yeah.
As we were starting to see the ground. We were hoping to see pyramids and stuff, but no, that wasn't the case.
Who built the pyramids, though? That's a side note. In you guys' estimation, who built the pyramids, man? I'm just curious, like,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Purchase, who built the pyramids, man?
Egyptians.
The Egyptians. But by the time you're in Aswan, your mission accomplished. You're approaching minimums, like you're almost there. So I'm sure there's already a prideful thing, positive pride, like we've done it, we've gotten this far. Because it's a huge responsibility.
Yes.
And in as much as I know we're casually talking about the story, the experience around it, but you intend to get an aircraft that's gonna be in service, and it behooves you to bring it safely. You know, so by the time in Aswan, you're one stop from home. How long is the sector now from Aswan to Nairobi?
Oh, it was actually we had another stop between Aswan. We were in Djibouti.
Oh, you passed by Djibouti.
Yeah.
That was meant to be the longest sector of them all.
So it was meant to be DCT. It was meant to be direct.
From
Actually,
Aswan to
Yeah.
Djibouti.
Yeah.
How long was that?
So that was meant to be about 5 hours something.
Is it that far?
Yeah.
It is far. Again, the routing was to take us to overhead Jeddah, and then we fly south to Eritrea, Asmar, and then now we fly to Djibouti. Reason being, there's a strip of international waters on the Red Sea that you're not meant to be on.
Where the aliens are.
So now the routing was long. So that was the longest sector. So we had to, but we discussed, like, okay, we need to save some fuel as well. I remember at this time, they tell us, initially we were meant to land at Addis airport, like previous ferries. But now Addis didn't have fuel for charter flights and privately owned aircraft. So they're like, okay, if you come here, there's no fuel for you. So it means we'll be stuck.
Also, like their fuel is for off-block guys. Or what?
For scheduled flights, yes.
Okay.
So now we had to reroute to replan to Djibouti, where there would be fuel for us. So that's why now things changed a bit. My first time in Djibouti, I think it was for you as well.
Yeah, mine as well.
Yeah, so we had to fly all the long route, but in between there, we're like, hey, this is too long.
Yeah.
I remember telling him, hey, there's a shorter.
We're holding the physical map.
Yeah.
And looking for
a shorter route.
For a shortcut. And
why is that? Were you guys getting nervous fuel-wise, or? And are you guys still doing standard practices, long-range cruise, or you're flying?
Yes.
No.
To the wall.
Again,
you have to save fuel on these long sectors.
Of course.
So now we find a shorter route, and we request the air traffic control for the shortcut. And
they agreed.
Like, yes.
How much did that save you, time-wise?
I think about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes is solid to say.
It's a solid.
And a lot of fuel.
Even fuel. Contingency-wise, again, if you're to divert, should anything happen, you have a bit
more
of a buffer. Yeah. So we arrive in Djibouti at night.
Yeah.
Probably like at 8 p.m., I think. Yeah.
Djibouti is like a military-based country. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Basically partition of Somali, if I'm not wrong, for American military-based purposes.
There's a lot of bases there.
Yeah.
There's a huge French base, American base, Italian base. I think there's also a Chinese base. Don't quote me on this, but I think there is a huge international military presence at that airfield.
Yeah.
There were some very interesting aircraft parked on the ramp, I must say.
Oh, yeah.
All military.
Oh, yeah.
What did you see? What did you guys see?
I think I saw an AWAC.
Yeah.
AWAC, yeah.
The big aircraft with the big...
Oh, the huge propellers.
No.
Or the
radar.
The radar thing, the round... Put that on the screen, man.
Yeah.
Guys to see.
Yeah.
The big A330s that can do in-flight refueling. Some really cool stuff.
So you guys spent the night?
Spent the night. So this would be our last night prior to arriving back home. So yeah, again, we're tired. It's been a long day. And so we do about 30 minutes to the hotel, and we decide, okay, we need to have minimum rest.
Did they put you up at nice hotels? Was it like comfortable?
Oh, yes.
Stuff you liked?
Oh, yes. Again, it's a shame we couldn't spend much more time over there.
It would be nice to spend a few nights in these resorts.
Did you get to gym? I know he's a gym head.
In Toronto, I did. But on the rest of the trip, it just was too
tired, huh?
Yeah.
You have to save up your energy.
Yeah, conserving the resources.
So yeah, we get to the hotel. We plan. Okay, now this is last leg. It's gonna be about 3 hours to Nairobi.
Who's flying?
Mike flew actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember my first ferry. Captain allowed me to fly back home. So I was like, I'm gonna give it. Come what may.
Give him the honor.
Yeah. Let him take it back home. So yeah, we left around like 9 a.m. 3-hour flight back home. Now we're excited. The mood is palpably different.
Yeah, yes. Mission almost accomplished.
Yeah.
Almost accomplished. We're on schedule. We are happy. We have guys waiting for us in Nairobi. We've done our shopping. This is the time to unbox some of these things. Almost unboxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was exciting.
And there's something about you notice when you enter the Kenyan airspace. You can tell I'm on home turf.
It's so amazing. Like at that point, I feel like even if I get an emergency, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like it is familiar voices, familiar
waypoints.
voices, familiar waypoints. Like, oh, hi, we're in I don't know, Mount Kenya is somewhere here. I feel like you're home.
I feel like
places we've been to, maybe we've driven to. Now we're overhead. Whatever happens, we're okay. And again, we're about to complete the mission.
But it's also very emotional. Coming back home, but I remember when I was given an ATC message back into a Kenyan controller, I actually felt,
you cry.
Yeah, on the inside, I was like, it is a big feat, to come back home.
And are you guys flying? For sure, not flying in uniform. No way, Jose. You were not flying in uniform. Maybe the last sector.
The last sector.
For the purposes of course, disembarking and looking the part. But there's no way you were flying in uniform the rest of the...
It was not practical. Actually, we had to be really warm. Again, what's the point in being in uniform and then you get sick and have to ground the aircraft somewhere, So we had to be really warm. I mean, we were in all sorts of things.
Thermals, socks, boots, gloves.
I don't know why
jackets.
I don't know why I had my suspicion that you guys changed just before you disembarked the aircraft in Nairobi. Well, you're telling me you left Djibouti in uniform.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We left Djibouti in uniform.
Okay.
Yeah, we agreed. I mean, it was only 30 degrees in Djibouti, 3-hour flight.
Yeah.
So like it's easier to just
Be ready.
Be ready from Djibouti. So yeah.
How was the touchdown, man? You touched down Nairobi, mission accomplished, man.
It was good.
Vacate via
Foxtrot.
You had to take Fox.
I had to take Fox.
Couldn't
If
wait
you're
to
watching
get home.
Foxtrot, is like our first exit point on the runway 06. So it's really like a nice thing to save time and also a bit of skill to take Fox. So he had to take Fox, just to put a stamp on the landing. So you guys landed, of course, you're received. I think we can even put that up on the screen. Is this the day you guys got a water cannon? That was for all intents and purposes. Yes, it was the same day you got the water cannon, right? Yes.
So yeah, we come in, grand salutes, water cannon, left, right. We're there. There's dignitaries waiting for us, which was an honor. I mean, we're just pilots.
Yeah.
And then
I'm just a pilot, man.
I mean, we get to the parking bay, and as we open the door, I mean, there's a CEO there. There's a ambassador, Canadian ambassador. There's a host of other dignitaries just waiting. The chairman of the board, and it was big. It was
There was
proud moment.
Yeah, it was. There was media,
media.
paparazzi, people asking us questions,
Yeah,
flags waving.
our colleagues. Yes,
Proud moment, huh?
Yeah, it
Proud
was.
moment.
It was a very nice welcome.
I think it kind of dawns on you at that moment that this was a big feat. It's like a visual representation of it was a big feat. So we were very proud.
I must say congratulations to both of you. I think I told you both separately even before we started discussing that, because a ferry, like I said, for most pilots, a ferry flight is something people dream to do.
Yeah.
So to do it successfully. And how is now, of course, you guys disembark, you've been received. I'm sure there's a drive home. That drive home where you're like, yeah, I did a ferry. How was that?
It was good.
Calling family.
A lot of questions friends, family were asking. A lot of storytelling. A lot of experiences. Kind of like this in a nutshell. A lot of memories that'll be in my mind forever.
And I think also how I've seen our company do it also for the first officer side of things. It's really when you're coming close to, of course, now transitioning to the left side. So how would you say also that helped your command readiness also? Because a lot of decision making, in as much as it's collective and of course the back stopped with you, that you talked about how he was also really resourceful. So it also helps with the command readiness, I would imagine.
Yeah, I definitely see that, because I joke and say there's no GSRT for crossing the North Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
There's no ground school on how to operate like this. I saw CRM, how we communicate with each other, and yeah, I think Captain Moturi allowed me to have a lot of responsibility. A lot of the routings, a lot of the radio. There was a lot of trust that was instilled in me, and it gave me confidence in myself to know that my commander believes in my ability. And he also gave me the, choose your landing, that 40 knot crosswind into Malta. There was no hands on the controls. It was, you got this.
He puts his chair back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was more than capable. I think I would say confidently that he held his own. When you're doing such unorthodox flights, you need someone you can trust, someone you can, who can be of help.
Someone can rely on.
You can rely on. You cannot see everything as a commander, so you need all eyes. To foresee situations, and hence why I say he was very resourceful. So, again, your question, like commandability, I mean, this guy is more than ready. Yeah, I think he's...
You hear that, guys, if you had any doubt. That was his interview. All of this was a charade. It was just an interview for your command.
It sounds so good.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is ready for it, I believe. Did a great job. I mean, again, we talked about CRM.
CRM, yes. In fact, yeah.
I also have to mention engineer John Mutule.
Shout out John Mutule.
Yeah, we definitely haven't paid him enough credit. He did an exceptional job on this trip.
I mean...
You also felt the confidence in having him there as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something we haven't mentioned. There's a time we got a tech. A tech is like an issue. A caution light came on. A warning kind of came on.
Warning or caution?
Well, it was a caution, yeah.
Okay.
That came on after we left Goose Bay. And we had to sit and make a decision, like, what's the best
course of action.
And, and in such cases, that's where CRM is...
All resources available.
What do you think? If we go back to Goose Bay, this will happen and whatnot. We try to, map it out. Okay, what would be the consequences of going back to Goose Bay? And if we proceed on, what happens, And I mean, I couldn't, as captain, I couldn't have a better team. I must say, like, we thought it through well.
It was all three of us.
And
we all rubbed heads.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, some of these things you can overlook, but you see, if you're all helping out each other, the work becomes so much easier. So much easier. From the minutest of tasks, fueling or loading or whatever it is, to the big involving decisions that you have to make. So I had a great team, I must say. Yeah. So
once again, congrats on the Ferry, man. And of course, I would imagine after that amazing feat of being an aircraft, you guys, of course, are pulled off the roster. So that you can adjust. I mean, you're given some time off, right? Also, that you can adjust. I remember I called him the day he sounded completely tired and knackered. Yeah, still trying to adjust.
Oh yes, I think it took me more than a week from the day we landed. I thought I was okay. I thought, okay, since we've been having stops, like intermediary stops along the way, maybe my body would have adjusted faster. But no, dude. A week later is when I'd recovered, like fully recovered.
Now we've gotten your aviation background, we've gotten the ferry flight. Now, in just a quick, just for the audience to also get to know you, because I'm sure by now guys are also quite intrigued, the people watching, ladies watching. What do you guys do for your pastime? What do you guys do to now in your downtime, when you're not flying, when you're chilling? What are your hobbies? I know he's a gym head. What do you guys do?
For me, whenever I can leave town, I'm out, I'm fishing, I'm camping.
You drove to Entebbe.
I did, yeah.
You're a wild guy.
Yeah.
This guy drove to Entebbe for his rotation. Quite intriguing, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I camped on my way there, and I camped while I was there.
You camped solo?
No, I was with some friends on my way there, my partner. And then when we were in September, I took a domestic trip. Well, I drove up to a place called Murchison Falls, Highly recommend.
So you're an outdoors guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
What about you, Skipper? I know you play football.
Oh, yeah. I like to think myself as an outdoor guy as well, but not to this level.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy is, certified outdoors.
This guy, I called him when he was in Entebbe, and he's like, I've joined a sailing club.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, it's been 2 days. You've been there for 2 days.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I don't have that much energy. I like to think myself as an outdoors guy. I also love football. I play and watch. I'm into music, like singing.
I remember.
You wanna do for us a number?
I remember the first day, our first night in the hotel in Toronto, and him and I were sharing a wall. He was in one room and I was in the other. And I remember we walked in to our respective rooms. Not even 10 seconons later, I could hear him singing in his room.
But you do hear him sing.
Yeah.
Even like on the turnaround, you'll hear him he has the vocals.
Humming a few tunes there. Yeah, makes me happy.
Yeah.
And congrats! Recently, you've been. It's public information. You're now an instructor.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, looking forward to the role. Yeah, looking forward to the next phase of growth. They say it's a test. If you know something, how to know that you know it is by teaching. So I have to see how much I know.
In a few years, I'll put you to the test.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be able to. We'll see how much you know.
How much I know. Again, I'm looking forward to the growth and to. Yeah, no, again, it's about impacting the new generation, the next guys,
And I must say, as the generation moves, CRM, of course, we've harped on about that, but also just the instructional environment is on a global stage improving significantly. Gone are the days of like the term in aviation is warlord approach, but I think that has significantly tapered off and continues to get better as the industry develops. And ultimately, it actually achieves the outcome better, because when you're being taught in a calm environment, you actually learn better. Some of us have gone through I know you've told me a story of some training you went through at some point that was a bit tough, a bit intense in terms of the person who was training you. So I'm sure even you will carry what not to do as an instructor now also.
Of course. Drawing from all those experiences, trying to kind of forge my own way of doing things. That's also, in line with acceptable practices. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to passing on the knowledge, the little that I have, impacting the next guy, At the end of the day, we need to do this safely, efficiently, in a way that, you leave there, be like, yeah, I'm glad I interacted with this fella. I'm glad I was associated with this company. I'm glad we did this in this time period. So it's all good.
Last questions. Favorite aviation movies? What's your favorite aviation themed movie, would you say? Burgess?
I have two. Of course, you can't go without saying Top Gun.
Top Gun.
And I've just heard
Which one? Or Top Gun as a
whole.
As a whole.
I could watch both on repeat. But I've just heard there's a third one coming out.
I saw that.
Catch Me If You Can.
Ah, awesome. But although Catch Me If You Can, the guy couldn't fly technically.
No.
He was.
But he gave us the persona of what every kid thinks an airline pilot is. That romanticized walking down the,
Not flight though. No, flight is not that.
Flight was something that I haven't watched it in a while, but it was definitely an interesting a movie. Good piloting skills.
Yeah. On ground or in the air? What about you, Skipper?
Yeah, I'd say Top Gun. Top Gun really stands out, I think. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be when I got interest in aviation. I felt like flying fighter jets would be more exciting. I mean, I think it still is, but
shout out Fred while we're at it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to be on one of those F somethings, but I don't think it's possible at this point. But yeah, so yeah, that kind of resonated with me. I mean, I'd see myself in that cockpit, as Tom Cruise fighting, going through valleys and over mountains and
The last Top Gun was
shooting,
done really well.
you know.
It was quite. How come no one ever says Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor was also quite an aviation-themed movie.
I think there's a lot of war.
We're
related-
going left or right? You mean right? Like left, right?
But there's a lot of war movies that are out there. You know, Black Hawk Down, for instance. There's a vast array. For me, it's just more that's what's on the tip of my mind and what I've watched on repeat.
And my second last question is favorite or most inspiring pilot, dead or alive? And I'll start it by saying for me, it's, of course, I look at Sully, whatever Sully was able to pull off, Miracle on the Hudson. I've watched documentaries, I've listened to the audio tons of times. I've shown my wife, like, just the composure in that moment, the heat of the moment to just make the right decisions, split-second decisions, resulting in a ditching where minor injuries at most. Yeah, in such a stressful environment. And everything was happening like this. And the part I liked best was how in last minute he asked his first off any ideas. That time they were like 100 feet above the River Hudson. So for me, that's the most inspiring pilot. What about you guys? Dead or alive?
Your grandpa, man.
It could be purchased. I mean,
Mine definitely was my granddad. Like I said, upsetting that I never had the chance to meet him in person. But, you know, his legacy runs through the bloodline. I have all of his logbooks from his first flight until his last. So, and, you know, I would say the way a logbook is documented now versus how it was documented then. Back then, it was documented like a journal. There's newspaper articles, there's photos, there's him in...
oh, that sounds
in the,
so
in,
cool.
in-
Could you send pictures
in
of that?
cockpit, I'd have to ask permission from the rest of the family. For very sentimental,
Okay.
but very happy for you to come to the house and
Okay.
have a read through. But you know, there's so much information. There's maps that he was given from when he was in the military. You know, areas that he should be checking out. And then it goes through his history where he went on to fly. Like I think his last flight was London to Nairobi on a Boeing 707. So the huge wealth of knowledge and the experience that he had has really driven me to be like, how much can I achieve as well? It'll never be the same. I'll never be able to fly a Spitfire or a DC-3 or a 707. But we got other aircrafts also that we can, you know.
So do you have jet aspirations?
One day, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Captain?
I'd say, I think it's little bits of different people in my life over the years, starting from flight training. There's really impactful instructors over there in 43 Air School. Guys who taught me a little bit of this, and maybe the other teaches me something like this, something to do with, you know, a different aspect of things. And I wouldn't say there's like one person like I absolutely look up to. It's many people. In my current company, my former company, there's people who've shaped my journey. Yeah. So I have to give credit where it's due. I mean, teach me one thing and that I'll never forget. I mean, you hold a special place in my heart, you see. And I like that. Of course, with the Captain Sally and the rest of these celebrated guys, of course, they teach us a thing or two. You know, they kind of tell you it's possible. You can be in an emergency and be calm and think through and make good decisions. And, you know, they're always an inspiration. So, yeah, mine mostly local. There are so many, even currently. Whatever I find, I think if I see, let me give an example. When this guy gets on the PA to make an announcement, I'm like, oh, yes.
It's a solid one.
Solid. I mean, awesome. I like his tone.
Do you have a recording of?
I can definitely make one for you.
Okay.
Ask for nicely.
Please.
I mean,
We'll play it on the episode.
yeah, man. I mean, it's like he was born for it. So I like that. I like drawing little things from different people. So yeah, keeps me going.
And in the final, in parting, what would you like to tell any young aviator watching this who's aspiring to be a pilot, and maybe they're in high school or they're just about to enroll in flight school? There's some words of encouragement. The story in itself today is very encouraging to anybody. You guys have amazing personal aviation stories, and of course the feat that you guys are able to accomplish. I mean, that'll be etched in the company's memory forever, and yours as well. So what would you guys like to say? Maybe we'll start with Purchase and parting, and just look in that camera, or actually look in this camera.
I would say everyone has a different path. Mine was progressive. I went from flying small planes to bigger and bigger and bigger, whereas the captain over here went from flight school to a big jet. So don't set your sights on something that's so far-fetched. Small steps can get you to the bigger leap. Just got to find your own way. It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes a lot of sacrifice to get to the top. I mean, not even at the top, but yeah, don't give up. Study, get those exams out of the way. You don't have to do it in 1 year. You can do it over 5 years. There's no time limit to this. It's all in your own ability. Believe in yourself. Don't give up. And the sky's the limit.
Thank you, Mark. That's amazing. Captain, this is your camera.
My camera, okay. I would say everyone in this life has a purpose, a destiny. Like there's a path picked out for you. The quicker you find it, the better it is for you. Most young boys have this dream of being pilots or astronauts. There's those neurosurgeons and whatnot. But then, is it really where you're meant to be? So figure that out first. Then, when you're there, now God kind of opens up the ways. Now, He will open up step by step. I wish we had more time to speak about how I got into aviation. Like there's a lot more detail to it. It would be nice, but again, we don't have time. So when that opens up, it's just now step by step, just walking in faith, going and putting your best foot forward, being professional, be disciplined. You cannot spend all this money being a pilot and then you just ruin it by indiscipline, or just not putting effort. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity in this field. There's a lot of demand. It's hard at first. From the time you get to finish your CPL, your multi-IR, to the point of getting your first job. Those are the hard parts. It's a journey. And then after that, now it kind of opens up. Like when you get your experience, when you're a little bit experienced, now people now want you. People now looking for you. They want you to work for them and whatnot. So it takes perseverance, but it's definitely worth the effort, I'd say.
You couldn't have said it better. Ladies and gentlemen, soon to be Captain Michael Purchase, Captain Mike Moturi. That's been an amazing Airmen episode. Thank you so much, guys, for making time. That was an amazing story, man. And I do appreciate you guys taking time. I know how our schedule is, and to align, of course, it's not the easiest. But you guys, of course, it was fairly straightforward. You didn't give me a hard time. So I'm grateful for that. You've also honored my platform by coming. So thank you so much. Every other time with Eric, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Airmen, that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Asante.
Great
Thank you
job
for having
guys.
us.
Great job. Great job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Whew.